Dine Halisha, Rafias Amatzos. Till now we prepared the flour and the water, and now we're going to make the matzah. It says as follows. Boy tells both Stephen. Tana Shafa by Chometz. We have an oven in which they baked Chometz. Kishireitza, and in the olden days, as I mentioned many times, every household baked their own matzah for Pesach. So they would have to kasher their oven and do all the processes that had to do with making. So he says, Tana Shafa by Chometz. You have a Tana that they used to bake bread in it. Kishireitza lepes by matzah. When you want to bake in it matzah, tzorach lachshirei. You have to kasher it. How do you kasher it? Ayidei libum gama. Libum gama means burning in fire. There's different ways of kashering. One way of kashering is libum gama. One way of kashering is hagola. And one way of kashering is iru. In other words, either it's with fire, that you burn with fire, and when you burn something with fire, so then the din is you don't have to wait 24 hours to kasher it. If you do hagol, you have to wait 24 hours. If you do iru, you have to wait 24 hours. Because the rule is that the way it absorbs, that's how it gives it out. The hainu, sheyasiku kol kach, they should heat it up so much, till sparks will be jumping from the logs of wood or the coal. Will have a libum gama. Less than this is not libum gama. There's also what's called libum kal. That's another thing. Libum kal means where you take a blowtorch and you go over it, let's say, with a blowtorch. It'll get so hot on the other side that a tissue would begin to burn from it. That's called libum kal. V'tzorach lizor, you should be careful. Sheyechu hagacholim al pnei kulei, that the coal should spread out over the whole surface of the oven. V'tay v'yosha hu v'gofay hu nakaisay heitev acha hasek. In other words, that after you did this, then clean out everything, make it like broom clean. Ulehamtim, and to wait achi yitztanan ketzas till it cools off. So there's nothing burning there yet from the chometz that was in there before. V'achakach yachze v'yasikeyu, and then bring it up to the heat that you need. You have to have a certain amount of heat in order to bake in it. Lefers hamatzos v'yoy miyad achal libum. You shouldn't do it right after the libum.
Because there could be some things left around.
Something maybe was left there.
Even though it got burnt.
They didn't get burnt entirely.
A self-cleaning oven, are you allowed to make matzahs in it? Not that we're going to make, but I'm just asking.
A self-cleaning oven is considered libum gama. I don't want to get into it, but be asked it, I'll just mention something about it. Many years ago, I bought a self-cleaning oven, many years ago. And I wrote to the company to explain the cycle. Now, the idea of the self-cleaning oven, I got married this time of the year, like in other time. And I decided that we're going to make Pesach for ourselves. How do you make Pesach for yourself? I never did it this first time. So we had an oven, not a self-cleaning, an oven. And I went and I bought charcoal. And I put charcoal into the oven. And what happened was, there was no fire. What happened was, number one, all the knobs melted. the knobs are plastic. Number two, there was a smoke, terrible. Number three, the oven has a thermostat in it. So I killed the thermostat because the thermostat goes up to, let's say, 500, 600, and this one. So I learned my lesson that you can't do it that way. Okay, I'll tell you other ways how to do it, but that way you can't do it. So then later we bought a self-cleaning oven, and I wrote to the company. I asked them what's behind the self-cleaning oven. So they told me, that's what they told me at that time, this was many years ago. They told me that the heating of the self-cleaning oven goes up to 900 degrees. But it's, in the window there's a glass, and the glass should crack. But it's a tempered glass that could take the heat. And the metal, all the inside, could all take the heat. So if you, Marshall, put on your self-cleaning oven before Pesach, and let's say that you cleaned it out beforehand with, let's say, with Easy Off or something else, you cleaned it, and then you put on the cycle of the self-cleaning oven for 2 hours, it'll be like a film, like a white film that will be there like a little dust. That's the whole thing. That's leaving gum, there's no question about it. The only shayla with the self-cleaning oven, if you want to be machmer, I always explain this. Let's say that this is the door to the self-cleaning oven, okay? You open up the door, and in the middle of the door, over here there's a glass, right? Around this glass, there's a gasket. An asbestos gasket, okay? The idea is that when you close the door and you pull the lever to tighten it, to make sure it's tight, this part of the door did not get the self-cleaning.
The outside perimeter.
Right. The outside perimeter of the door did not get the self-cleaning.
Because the gasket is on the
gasket closes off to here, and this does not get the self-cleaning. So I told people the answer is that this is really not a big shot, because really this never comes into the oven.
To begin with.
So I told them, go over that with a leaven kal. And if you're doing a self-cleaning oven, go over that with a leaven kal. Now, there was years ago, somebody brought me, we're really off the subject, we're on the subject of a goal now, but be that he brought it up, let me just mention it. Somebody once brought me a bulletin from the Brooklyn Jewish Center, years ago. Yeah, there were Yidden there, the Frumme Yidden, there were all kind of Yidden there. The rabbi that used to be there, his name was Leventhal. His father was one of the big rabbanim in Philadelphia. But he became a conservative rabbi, and he's a very good speaker, excellent speaker. And Yitzhak Rono told me that people from Brownsville, Friday night, would walk from Brownsville to hear Leventhal speak. So, they also gave a bulletin about preparing for Pesach. So, in their bulletin, it said that how should you kasher the oven? You should turn on, we're talking the inside, the baking it. You should turn on the oven for an hour, and clean it out, turn it on for an hour, and dayenu. L'chayra, it sounds right. I say l'chayra. Because kabbalah kapata. But the emphasis is, it's not right. Why is it not right? There's a shayla when you kasher something. Moshe, you want to kasher this pot over here, okay? Do you kasher it by putting a blowtorch to the outside, or putting a blowtorch to the inside?
You would think it would be the inside.
Huh? The nafkamina is in Shulchan Aruch. There's what's called hesek pnim and hesek chutz. Hesek pnim means that you put into the pot. You go with the bowl torch, and hesek chutz is that you burn it out from outside. We hold that you have to have hesek pnim. I would say most ovens, to my knowledge, in the baking area, there's no fire. The fire is a lower compartment under. There's like two
Yeah,
compartments.
but now they have them with the fire inside the one.
Some have a
Top.
broiler inside.
Broiler,
Yeah,
right.
but most other ones that I know
Right.
have like two. There's under that, and when you turn on the baking, so the fire under there goes on, and it's like covered.
And it's heating the outside.
And maybe, so you're heating from the outside. It's a hesek chutz and not hesek pnim. What if something doesn't? Not everybody has a self-cleaning oven, and the kasha with a blowtorch is very hot. You know, people say use a blowtorch. Use a blowtorch is if you have what they call a plumber's blowtorch. He'll explain you what.
If you do it with a real blowtorch, there's nothing left to the oven when you finish.
A plumber's blowtorch. That's a different story. I mean, so I give an answer to the people. It's an interesting thing. If you open up the door of the oven, your baking section, you see a box. On the bottom there's a plate. That plate has 4 screws in it.
Take it out.
And those 4 screws are screwed into the bottom piece. Take out that thing,
And then you'll have
and
a
then
little-
put on the oven for an hour, and leave that thing in there in the oven standing somehow. And b'meila you'll have kasha like
inside.
a self-cleaning oven.
So maybe this is better than self-clean.
Huh?
Maybe this is a better option than self-clean.
Well, self-cleaning is easier.
But how hot does that fire? But that fire will only get to 550.
550 good, no? So
How much is enough for
fire,
each?
if fire is burning 550 is leaving gomer. It's fire.
The fire is going from the bottom to the top.
No, because then it's inside. What you accomplish is that the fire now is on the inside,
That's
not
right.
coming from the
That's
outside.
right.
We took off that cover. You made a whole big box,
That's
and they
right.
made the fire inside.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
you're cashing the broiler and the thing all at once, but it's all the
I
fire's in the
want
middle.
to tell you something that a chag v'amenetchen. One of the, till what was it? Till Chavei Shvat, no one ever went into the Rebbe's apartment.
Right.
Yeah, no one went into the Rebbe's apartment. It was a strictly private. Maybe a few shamosh and one, but after Chavei Shvat, it went again, and the seder was that you used to go in from
Out
the
to the
front, and
kitchen.
go to the kitchen. It's an amazing thing that the kitchen that the Rebbeson had was a very old kitchen.
It's only one
She didn't bother to put in a nice stove or a nice sink. Very old
She
kitchen.
only had one sink.
Right.
That's a pellet. She only had one sink.
Okay, so let's get back over here now. Yesh Loigen, now, being that we're talking about burning the, I think it was a self-cleaning, but it was a roper, if I remember correctly, by the Rebbeson.
She doesn't have a self-clean.
Not a, but a roper was the name, I think.
Maybe the name is Roper.
But I had a self-clean by the name Roper. I don't know. Who,
I can check again, but I don't believe that.
I don't remember. Mom was very modest,
No, maybe
Ve- ve-
it wasn't.
very,
It wasn't around.
very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Neat, very neat.
Yeah.
יש נוהגים לטוח אז התנא בקרקע חדשה. Now,
He wanted a new oven. My father never wanted to use a self-cleaning oven for paper.
he what?
Only used new ones.
What?
My father only used new ones. What's wrong with using a self-cleaning oven?
He said his father wouldn't rely on a self-cleaning, he would get a new oven.
There's some people that mahadrim that do 2 cycles.
Right, I've heard that
Okay.
also, yeah.
That's mahadrim. I mean, there's no ain't shein with over shir.
Right.
But,
Do 7.
but one cycle should be enough. The self-cleaning cycle incidentally takes 2 hours. Takes 2 hours of burning.
Yeah, usually it's about 3 hours even.
Okay. He says, Yesh noigim l'tuach as atana b'karka chadasha. There's some that they have the oven, so they can't burn it out good, So they put a layer of cement, a new layer, a fresh layer of cement. Today, in order not to have to, the hesek could crack it, could break it, you know. שההסק הברור בגגוי ובקירייסוי הוא נפרד על ידי ליבון מאשר הבס שמסיקים לפי המצס. ומנהג יופי, he's saying, what he's saying is over here, that there's someone that they make a whole cement covering over the whole oven. Because when you just heat up the bottom, so it'll drip down from the top. So maybe that why could be some shyness with it.
Oh, so they cover it so it shouldn't be able to fall
Yeah,
down on top of
so they cover the whole thing. The minute you have ubevachi atiyach isa bekaka over etzva, it should be the thick of a etzva, a yaisa, apnei kulei, avo tit muad. Okay. In other words, you have to work in a house that has a ceiling to it, not out on the street. That's Rav Dafka. If it's a cool day outside, then you know that according to the seasons, let's say if there's no sun now, you also are and not opposite an open window, because the heat of the sun will come in through the window. Even if it's not shining there, but heat could come in. If they have glass, then the glass will block the heat from coming in. Mutter. Im eine Chama zera shama. Aber im Chama zera shama, if it's a hot day, it's shining there. A glass window will not help because it goes through the glass. You have to put up like a shade. It comes zrichas hashemesh, in the place where the sun shines. That there shouldn't be heat in the house. Keep the room cool. Was the heat of the house?
In Chabad, they used to do it. They used to spray water on the tin roofs over there to keep the room cooler inside there. So it was so hot.
Ein Russian Issa Gedele. Now, a Shir Challah is different opinions what it is. Yeah, in eggs it's 43 eggs, but our minhag is that when you're baking, so from it depends between, I think, between 3 and 5 pounds. 3 pounds you take without a bracha, and from 5 pounds you take with a bracha. So now what he's talking now is the kneta, the one that gets the water and the flour, and he has to make a dough out of it. V'toiv l'mayit, it's good to make it smaller. Kishiru Rabbi Zal, she'imo isa gedela yosem mishir chala, efshel aslik bo b'pam achas. They have to keep kneading it the whole time. The challah is saying, how does it become chametz? If you leave it alone, it rises. If you keep punching it, kneading it, it doesn't. So if it's a very big, you can't really work with the whole thing the whole time. V'yesh lochish penjis chametz. Im rosh isha raka. What happens if the kneta sees that he put in too much water? And Mamela, so he tells the guy, he tells the mill guy, throw me in some more flour. So you shouldn't do that. He says, "Im rosh isha raka," if he has a soft dough, you shouldn't add flour because that flour may not mix as good as the other flour. And b'meila, when they bake the matzah, that flour will not be baked, and then you come to the union of gebroks. Huh? The chametz, okay.
The Knesset says you could add water, but not too much flour. Rabbi Bogomilsky. I guess he has experience.
Okay. He says, one more over here. V'yitchak es hakamach teich amido. When the one who pours in the flour shouldn't force it down. Should like
Pack it
pour
down.
it in and then pat it down. Why? Ki yesh lochosh shemer ha'nigosh yofa. It'll chunk up a little bit and it wouldn't.
Won't mix properly.
וישר בתוך המצה משהו קמח. וכשיובא אחר כך בתפשו, יש יסחמץ. גם יזור שלא להניח את הקמח סמוך למים, that the water area shouldn't be close to the flour area, שלא ייפול מעומק הקמח בתוך המים, but you'll be pouring, so in the air, it shouldn't be. וכן המודד את הקמח, the one who measures the flour, lo yiskarev elo isa, oy el hamayim, v'toy v'zor, shelo laniach es hayad al hakemach, shelo letzorech, not to even touch it with your hand, because your hand warms it up, ki hayad mechamemes chitzas. These are all things that the evidence is kosher, of course, but the heat is in matzah.